Welcome to the Deep Connect Show, the place to help you feel deeply connected to yourself, your desires, and in your juicy relationships. I'm your host, Raven, and today it's all about bringing the experts to you. I'm here with some of the most influential community members in the area of love, relationships, and intimacy. And because I want you to know the latest potent tools and services for deep, rich connection, I'd like to introduce you to Tori King. Tori is a sex, love, and relationship expert in the Bay Area and creating trends with her untraditional approaches to intimacy coaching and her love for coconut oil. Welcome to the show, Tori.
Thank you.
Your presence is really honored here today. Thank you so much for coming.
Really happy to be here with you.
Thank you.
Sorry I didn't bring any coconut oil.
Well, that's okay. We'll get it on the show eventually. But Tori, love.
Yes.
Let's talk about love. Really, do you believe in love?
Of course I believe in love. Doesn't everybody?
Have you always believed in love, though?
It's a great question. I think we were taught to believe in love. All the fairy tales have love in it, but I think that kind of love just is so, it eludes us, right?
Yeah.
Love. So I'm now a believer in experiencing deep, connected love.
So you're saying that it's not like the fairy tales that we were told when we were younger?
Well, it can feel that way, especially at the beginning of relationships when all of that juicy...
Oh, yeah. I'm experiencing it now.
So you get that kind of like, oh my God, I'm in love with you feeling.
Yes.
And that feels amazing.
Yes.
So there's some of that in love, but it can go much deeper.
Yeah. And one of the things I really love about you, Tori, as one of the closest people in my life that I love and adore, is the amount of gentle love that you have in your life and like the quality of love that I see you having in your life. Just tell us, how did you get so damn lovable? How do you come to a space in your life where you can really live that as like an everyday existence, having this really powerful, gentle love?
That's a great question. I don't know that anyone has told me that I have this gentle love about me, but I'd say I've found it in myself. And it's been a long process of doing a lot of personal growth work to get to a place where I truly know and love myself. So that
What kind of work?
Oh my gosh.
What kind of work are we talking here?
Do you have a while?
Workshops,
a lot.
reading?
Personal counseling, therapy, groups, kind of like process groups, going to workshops on love, intimacy, and sexuality, trainings, books, reading books. I mean, whatever I can get my hands on about how to be in relationship with myself and others has really helped me open up my own heart to be able to know who I am so I can share who I am with you.
Were there circumstances in your life that prompted that shift? Or did you just wake up one day and you're like, I need more self-love? Or what was that? What prompted that shift for you?
That's a great...
Do you remember?
Yeah, actually I do. I was dating a guy back in my early 20s, and he said to me, he was a psychology major, and he's like, you're codependent, is what he told me. And I'm like, okay, is that a compliment? So that it spurred a whole exploration around what is codependency? What is this whole thing about love, and how do I love you without losing me? Yeah. So that was really...
So someone helped you identify that, to see that dynamic was going on for you.
Yeah, and it was an eye-opener, and from there I just got started on my journey, going into counseling and watching videos and understanding family dynamics and what has shaped me to be who I am
So
today.
Isn't that true that so often in our lives what we identify as something we don't want is exactly the thing that propels us forward into change and going through all of this?
Yeah, totally.
So I am just so intrigued with the work work that you're doing, and your training is with the Somatic Institute, correct?
Yeah, among other stuff, but yes, absolutely.
Yes, and we're going to get to the other stuff too, but I
Yes.
specifically want to hear more about the Somatica Institute. So what is the Somatica Method, and how would you say that it's different from other coaching practices out there?
So the Somatica Method is, it's a method that we use for sex and relationship coaching, basically. And I'd say the main difference is that it's very experiential. And what that means is that we do exercises with clients that help them get a felt, embodied sense to pay attention what's actually happening here in the moment. We also may use touch. There's like a container that's created, but cuddling is welcome. Yeah, it really depends on where the person is working, what realms, but definitely it's experiential and it's touch positive. It's also about approving other people and helping them see where they're at and just expand from there, from a place of like non-judgment and not maybe putting someone in a certain box and telling them you have to do things this way for it to be right. So.
Yeah. Are you able to give us like an example of an exercise without giving too much away? Just a small example of what you mean by that experiential coaching. Because I think that's really the important piece of it. Because we can all go to lectures, we can read books on love, intimacy, sex, relationships. But this actually experiencing it and practicing it, because it's a muscle, I feel like.
For sure.
So can you think of a small exercise or an example of an exercise?
Yeah, let's see. So how far are we from here? So I want to do one of my favorites, which is very simple, but also very profound. And let's see, could I have your hand?
Do you want me to put this down?
Sure.
Okay.
I just want your hand.
Okay.
So basically, this is would be touching for your pleasure, right? So I am going to touch you for my pleasure.
Oh.
I'm not going to touch you for your pleasure. So I'm just going to touch your hand, okay?
Okay.
So basically, first, before I move any further, I just usually like to really drop into my body. So I would do some embodied breath work with someone to help them get in touch with their body and feel their own energy flowing through them. And from there, which I feel already pretty connected to myself, I would then start to just touch you and really pay attention to what I'm enjoying about touching you. Like I can feel underneath my fingers just the smoothness of your skin and the warmth of your skin. It feels really good, actually. And
this is now for my pleasure too.
So that's the secret. That is the secret. So many people are touching, trying to do something to make their partner feel something. They're like, I want to touch you, make you feel good, arouse you or whatever. But actually, to make me feel good, you need to feel good. So when you touch me, it needs to, it needs to feel good to you.
Yeah, and I think it's about bringing in again that intention.
Yeah.
It's like, wow, I don't know if I ever thought about, wow, touching you for my pleasure and really feeling into that.
Yeah.
So that's really juicy.
So yes, it's a little teaser.
I love it. So I know you and I love you. So what unique flavor do you bring, though, to the Somatica Method?
Well, I would say there's a lot of acceptance, listening. I get a lot of comments that I'm a really good listener, and people feel really safe to unload and share things with me. Now, I would say, hopefully in counseling, you get a lot of that already from all counselors, but I would say that's this one quality that just comes is my presence. Being here with you and just really approving of you, and seeing you for who you are and celebrating you.
Yeah. Well, I can definitely attest to that myself, because you've just helped me tremendously in my life shifts, and I'm just really grateful, because I feel like you've just been right there. And you do, like I said before, you bring that sense, that like gentle, thunderous kind of just really intently listening. And I always feel really heard. And it's really rare, actually, to just have a space where I just feel really heard and seen. And so that's one of the unique things that I love about the work that you're doing.
Thank you.
So is there a generality in the type of clients that you see, or are they men, are they women, are they, what's your typical client?
It is mixed. A lot of the folks I'm seeing lately are people who have gone through divorce. And they're,
that's a big one, right?
It is. It's huge. It's like they're coming out of an old relationship and not quite sure how to date again. How do I date? How do I be in a relationship with people? And they have to move through those old feelings of, I failed at this last relationship. I failed. So am I worthy of another relationship?
And how do I get back in the game, right?
How do I get back in the game? And how do I start to think about, how do I treat this other person? How do I think about having sex with this other person? I mean, there's all these things that are very anxiety producing. So I see a lot of people trying to figure out that part of themselves and get back in the swing of dating. And also women who are, you know, have low sex desire or figuring out their sexuality and wanting to, you know, not having anyone to talk to about it. You know, it's, and growing up, I don't know about you, but sex wasn't talked about in my household. And neither were feelings, so that's a whole nother story. But it's just like someone to sit there.
You know, just two major areas in our life,
you know,
really. Do we really need to talk about feelings or sex?
Don't worry about it. You'll figure it out along the way, or you'll stumble through it.
Yeah. No, that's a big one for me. I was raised a Jehovah's Witness, and it was real taboos around sex, sexuality. And so having a space to do that is just really immensely helpful. So do you have like a better sex guarantee? Like a 30-day better sex guarantee?
You can have better sex in 30 days or else come back and see me. I don't give a guarantee, but I do tell people that, you know, knowing yourself, you can't help but learn something and take some nugget. And I think when people are able to expose a piece of themselves that they haven't been able to share, it's like you can't help but feel better just in life in general.
And just more deeply connected. And that's what really the Deep Connect show is all about. It's just really these practical everyday tools for us to feel deeply connected with ourselves and our desires and then other people. And that's why I love the work that you do.
Thank you.
But you also have other training and background. Interchange, is that correct?
I've done Interchange, yes. It's a counseling program. And I've done
and you're also a counselor, right?
And I'm a counselor, yes. I like trainings.
I can tell. Are you a workshop junkie like me?
Maybe just a little bit. I mean, I just feel like growth is meant to be ongoing. And so if there's something that inspires me or appeals to me, I feel like I want to check it out. And there's always new ways that I can, you know, expand myself and expand my mind. So I love to always be growing. It's fun for me.
And we met through the Human Awareness Institute workshops.
We did.
Can you just speak briefly about like what that brought to your life and your experience in the work that you do?
Yeah, it was amazing. What I really loved about doing high workshops was having a chance to be around other people who were also exploring their own ideas of love, intimacy, and sexuality in this really safe, loving container that gave me a lot of freedom to figure out, like, who am I as a loving being, as a sexual being? And I got to have experiences in sitting down with other people. And one thing what that did was, I think a lot of people feel like I'm the only one that feels this way, but when you sit in front of other people or share with a large group, you get to see you're not alone in the world. And you're not
really powerful.
Weird or strange. And
well, I am weird and strange.
well,
I'm
I am
okay
too.
with that now.
Yeah, exactly. Now
Right?
we
Because
get to
of
be.
I'm okay with
I'm
that.
not the only one that's weird and strange. I'm not alone in the world anymore.
Yeah.
The other really huge thing I love about high was I learned about being at choice in my life. That
Wow.
I didn't have to just. I felt like I don't have to go along with just anything.
Yeah.
I get to decide what feels good for me. I'm really at choice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, what does that look like, though, in everyday life? Like to live in choice versus not living in choice? Because I
Yeah,
also have
yeah.
experienced this, and it's so powerful. For me, it literally was, I tune into myself now more than ever before.
Yeah.
Like, for instance, if a friend calls me and says, hey, do you want to go to a movie?
Yeah.
I really, before, I would just be like, yes.
Yes.
And now it's like I tune in and I can say, do I really want to go to a movie? Or would I rather be on a hot date right now?
Yeah.
Or something, you know?
Totally. I
Yeah.
feel that's one of the exact things that happened for me. I get to really think about what do I really want and feel like when I say yes, I'm a true yes to something
Yeah.
versus people when you have been codependent, you know,
Yeah.
as my ex-boyfriend told me I was, you may often say yes to things that you don't want to say yes to because you become sort of a people pleaser.
You're right.
Right? And
Right.
so now it's more like, yeah, let me think
Yeah.
about that. Or
Yeah. And that's
no,
why I
I'm a no
love
to that.
hanging with you and our people in our community, because I know that when we say yes to
Yes.
something, it's like a hell yes.
Yes.
It's not like have some other secret feelings going on in the background.
Yeah.
And I'll say for sex, it's really good because I know a hell yes in that department
Yes.
is then like a really good solid yes.
Yes. And
so-
I would just add one other little piece is that, wow, I get to change my mind. Just because I was
Yeah.
a yes
Oh my
like
gosh, that's so-
yesterday,
Yeah.
you know what? Today I'm actually not a yes. I had even more time to think about it, and I am at choice
Yeah.
to say that I'm a no now.
And I
Like,
think
wow.
that's big for women.
Totally.
To really grasp this is because I feel like we have such a emotional intelligence and we can experience such a high vibrancy of emotions even in one day, right? And that it's okay. I can
okay.
be completely a yes and
Yes.
then I can turn around and just not feel like it.
Absolutely.
Real quickly, we only have a couple minutes left, but I did want to ask you if anybody is curious about like non-traditional relationships, just about like how many flavors exist out there, like really quickly,
That is a great question.
because
It's
I know
almost
it's something
like,
you cover too.
Totally,
Yeah.
yeah. I like to say that people get to do relationships their own way.
Yeah.
So it's not about like making it fit like the way that maybe your parents did it, but it's more
Yeah.
like what actually works for you. And so
Yeah.
people get to explore. Maybe they don't know, so they may need to kind of sample the different varieties.
Yeah.
That could be dating multiple people, being married and having other people in your life. It could mean just exploring different alternative ways of being sexual with other people,
Yeah.
like in different, like some people are into kink. I mean,
Yeah.
there's such a
Yeah.
variety. There's a flavor for
Yes.
everyone.
Yes.
And you can even
And
make your own flavor.
Yes, and I think that's so important to know just that awareness alone. And
Yeah.
that is all the time that we have for today.
Wow.
Thank you so much for joining me today. But I want to thank you for going deep with us today. And join us in the future for episodes on dating, communication, and ways to get more touch in your life. I'm Raven, and remember, deep connection is the life fulfillment that you've been looking for. Thank you. Yay!
That was a fast 20 minutes.
Wasn't it?
Oh my God.